Hello and welcome back to the channel. Now this is the second lesson in my new series of fully recorded golf lessons with PGA Professional Eric Walker. If you've missed the first video, then don't worry, you can find lesson 1 in the description and comments area below. But in lesson 2, we are building on what we covered in the first lesson, but in particular, we're moving through the bag and trying to hit those slightly more difficult lower lofted clubs. We'll be using TrackMan data, so you'll be able to get an idea of how far and how well I'm hitting the clubs. And we're also going to look at this in this lesson at my driver. Now, something I've always struggled with my driver is I've always teed it up a little bit lower, further back in my stance, and hit this quite low ball flight and sacrificed yards. And I, myself, am interested in doing things the proper or correct way. So I asked Eric to help me set up properly to the ball and look to see if I can get more out of my 12-year-old driver. And I certainly did manage to do that. So hopefully you'll enjoy this video. If you have any questions, comments or observations, drop them in the comments area below. If you enjoy the video, give it a like and please do consider subscribing to support this channel. Anyway, let's get on with lesson 2.
Okay, let's see, let's get a few, we'll get some data on what you're doing. The first few, I suspect you will hit left because your body will just be moving.
I've not hit any balls yet, so
moving, get you moving, it's alright. Good, that's the one. Actually looks pretty good. Posture's way better than that one. Good man.
Well,
That's a proper golf shot.
Good shot.
That's a proper golf shot you've hit there. Your attack angle's good. Your face to path, 1.5 to 1.3 degrees face to path. What was that you hit? 9? 8 iron. Launch angle's good, ball speed's good. Yeah, I mean, you're negative 2.4 down, which is pretty solid with that club. You don't want to get too steep with an 8 iron. But that there is exactly what we'd be after. And if we look at it on the... I've just got a new iPad coming for this. So, in relation to your flight based on your target, it's that little pull fade. Now, I'll set this up with my iPad in the next session, but with that flight there, right, that's what I want to see you predominantly doing, where you've got effectively the one miss.
Yeah.
So I think, I can't speak about what you've done before today, or before last session, right, but I think you've missed greens in the past, predominantly because the ball's moved too much in the air.
Right.
Right, from left to right. I suggest that's been the case in the past. Right, that's my opinion. I'm not saying I'm factually correct on that, but that's my opinion. I think it's moving too much in the air. And I think by getting you to effectively start hitting a controlled pull a bit more often, you're just going to have less of a right miss.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
I'm not saying for a second you won't miss it right. They're still going to be in there. Golf's golf, right? That's what it does. But if I can get you feeling like that face is just a bit stronger through the golf ball, with the ball starting slightly left of your target, through time, and like you're almost talking that way, but through time you're effectively just going to see the same good shot, bad shot, which will give you trust a bit more. So then you can start aiming a bit more at your target.
Yeah, because I mean, I think that, like, looking at those, they're all pretty much around that flag. Like,
yes, 100%.
One hit there that was wild.
No.
And for me, like, so far all I need to do is just go right posture, bit further forward, open the stance. Like, it's 3 things to think of at this stage.
Yeah.
And it's way more consistent than it's been. So, like...
And it's like a ball striking exercise. Like, let's be honest, you played a bit of golf, you've not played a bit of golf, you've played a bit of golf. Like, you're not playing golf every single day, so you're not getting the luxury of being able to maybe stand and do it every single day. That's like, we'd all want that. But what you've got, like, if I take the guy who I met here 2 weeks ago, like your positive posture's better. Like, you're actually standing here like quite like, I know where it's going. My concern, not concern, is what happens when we start going to this club and this club.
Yeah.
Right. So I want to. Was that 9, 8? If it there, right. I want to see hitting something slightly longer. The only drawback of this, I said this to a client earlier, was, right, how often are you hitting 5 iron in a golf course?
Aye, I mean, I probably have
2?
2, 3 around.
2, 3 around?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm not going to like try and lose any sleep over you trying to hit 5 iron here, right? But let's get you set up to it for me, okay? And we're going to work on that same shape, same posture. Keep that ball position feeling like it's forward, okay?
Yeah.
Let's emphasise club face on the way back, path on the way down. Right? So that's what I expect to happen with a slightly longer clubs,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So I see a bit more of a release. Because when you've got loft in your hands, it's easier to hold off loft. It's way easier to take a pitching wedge and hold it off.
So are you talking about where?
So you released that club, so you've rotated that club face through impact.
Yeah, okay.
Right, so I'll just get you back into your setup position again. All right?
Is this where we're going back to where we're talking about holding this?
Yeah. I just want to see where you are in your setup position with this 5 iron, okay? Right. Okay, that's fine there, right? And let's really exaggerate that hold off feeling on the downswing, okay? So your path's working left. Still have a release there. Yeah. Okay.
I felt like I held that one open a little bit.
You did. You've got one little idiosyncrasy, a little thing that you do that's different from maybe Mr. Average, okay? Is when you get to here, okay, see if you've got that little left lean?
That's
Little left lean.
Yep.
Little left lean there. So that little left lean, okay, just means you get a little bit more on top of it than you want to. Which means you're then going to work a lot harder through impact, okay? So what we're going to try and do with the longer clubs...
Like this one here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So you get yourself just that little left lean there. So we're going to try and get you feeling like you're almost rotating away. This head position is not going to go this way, right? So we're going to try something... Oh, that'll be someone at the door. I'll just turn that down. So we're going to do something quite fun here. So set up to the golf ball for me, right?
Is it okay to move it forward?
Yeah. Right, okay. Right. Using your peripheral vision, right? Okay. I want you to look at 6 inches behind the ball, right? Okay. But you're going to look at the ball using your peripheral vision here, right? Right. And then I want you to, just before you pull the trigger, okay, look at the golf ball. So start with your head looking 6 inches behind it, okay? So that's, you got that. That's good there. It's tight, ticky, right? Go on. Yeah. Go on. Try and hit it. Try and hit it using your peripheral vision. Go on. Right. Good. Well done. So what we've seen there was effectively your head doesn't go that way because I've got you looking here, right? Yeah. So your head position is a bit stable. I do this drill a lot with putting because I get a lot of guys who get the old wobbly head, sniper's nightmare I call them, right? Right. So from that perspective, I'm trying to get your head position to not work this way. All right.
That's definitely always been an issue.
Of course it has.
Yeah.
Right? And it's something that I acknowledged before, but I didn't touch base on. We didn't really do anything about it, right? So the goal is to get you to look 6 inches behind it, right? So you set yourself up now, okay? Look 6 inches behind it. So your head's now in that 6 inches behind the ball, right? Now work your eyes back to the ball, but don't move your head. Okay. Right? Right, now hit it from there. Same hold off feeling. Okay, good strike.
Yeah, the strike felt better.
Right, don't worry about direction now.
Yeah.
Right, so good strike. Yeah, much better strike.
Yeah.
Yep. So we'll do that again. Okay.
Oh, that's done.
Right, so we're just going to look at that again. So there was the swing before. So look at that lean. Okay.
Yeah.
Significantly less.
Yeah.
Yep. You saved that a bit with the hands at the bottom. Now, whenever you change that upper, like almost say the neck to head position, and I've seen lots of people in the past, I've seen lots of this and this. Yeah. It's a feel thing, it's a visual thing, right? You're used to going that way. You're used to going that way, right? So you probably don't even think about it. It just happens, right? So now you're having to think about something that you don't want to necessarily think about, right? This is a driving range only practice, right? This is something that, this is not about today. Yep. This is not about tomorrow. This is about, like we said, 1st of May 2026, right, Andy, let's have a look at it. And we're seeing this head position staying a bit more tilted here, right? Because when you get this way, especially with the longer irons, you just get too steep on it. Your attack angle gets too steep. And then when you get too steep, what we're seeing from that steep position is that early extension through the golf shot. And that's why at times with longer clubs, we're kind of seeing a variation of ball flights, all right? So this is going to make your low point a bit closer to the golf ball, and your immediate reaction to that strike, forgetting direction, because it's not direct, was, oh.
Aye, I could tell as soon as I hit it.
But you went, but you're not happy, you're not comfortable.
No.
Like, far from it. You've got a habit of going there for whatever reason. But it's causing you problems.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not so much noticeable with the short clubs, because steep in the short clubs is good.
But yeah, I mean, that sort of looking here, and then just glancing at the ball but keeping the head still,
Yeah.
that wasn't difficult to do. You know, so.
The initial part of it's difficult. Like the first one, me saying, like, use your peripheral vision to hit the golf ball.
Yeah.
I might as well said, shut your eyes.
Yeah.
Right? But what happened is, you've seen in the video, immediately your head's in a much more, what I'd say is, I hate the word, but consistent position, where you're not then getting on top of it. Try it again. Ha ha ha. Andy.
Aye, like that was miles better. Can't see anything on the screen. Oh, no, 167.
I mean, listen, the numbers are relevant. I you know, yeah, attack angle's good there. So that through this track, man, was 171 carry, 186 total. Right. Okay, so that's one's correct. 82.5 miles an hour club head speed. 2.5 down, face to path, 0.8 of a degree. I mean, that's really, really consistent. And actually, that face to path data there, I'll take a screenshot of that, that's exactly where I would want. So path working left, club face following it, face is slightly open to path, you get that tiny little cut. So it's a really efficient, look at the smash factor, 1.44 with a 5 iron's really high.
Right, okay.
So that all of that was just a good golf shot. It was really efficient. That's how I've screenshotted it. You know, that's why I've screenshotted it. I mean, everything about that is actually really good.
Yeah.
Like 4,500 RPM, so. How many shots do you think you've hit since we last saw each other? You've blown a wee bit out.
Well, I've played 50 holes. And then I've
Well, that's a decent amount of shots.
Been to range twice, maybe.
So say 50 holes of golf and you're hitting, say, 2 full shots per hole on average, right? So there's 100 shots on the course.
Well, probably about, I would say maybe about 150, 160.
Right, so
loads of balls at least.
so that's getting you closer to feeling a bit more. And let's face it, your golf swing already went that way anyway. What we've done is got more control of your club face, more than anything else. That's what's happened.
Yeah.
But the fact that the face is now slightly close to target but open to path, I mean, that's all I want from you. That number face to path relationship, as long as it's sub 2 degrees, then you're really, all what you're going to do is hit it at that area of your target. Let's get the hands going there.
Felt a wee bit uncomfortable there, looking at the ball.
Yeah. Yeah, you've just got to let your eyes work back to the golf ball. There's no rush in it.
Felt a bit better, isn't it?
See, that's a much better position at the top there. Now. Good impact position.
Yeah, like the strike there, you can feel the difference when you hit. Like that actually felt like a fairly decent, well, I can see even on the data there in terms of distance anyway.
Yeah.
Felt like a fairly decent hit compared to what I normally feel.
The only difference there was the face was open 2.5 degrees as opposed to 0.8 of a degree, so it's went a little bit further right than the previous one, but you're still getting that club face close to target way more than you were before. That's really crucial for you, and not allowing the face. I mean, face to path being open is what a fade is, right? So that's what you're getting. But your club path, which is what we're really, like, your club path is so uber consistent. You've had one shot that isn't, right? But you know, if you think your average is 6.1 left, okay, you're really close to your average all the time, which is really good. The face angle is a little bit, at times it closes more than we want, All right, so that's just your control of the face.
Another one's the.
But that's to be expected because we're working on slightly different things, and like you're still a bit reactive with the hands at times on the downswing. But what's good is your path is so consistent that once that club face just begins to work for you, and you're maybe seeing it in smaller blocks, like you've seen it maybe over 3, 4, 5 holes, I can get it, and then I kind of lose it.
Yeah.
Then hopefully then that goes over 7, 8, 9 holes, then so on and so forth.
We're talking about the actual. The swing here is consistent, but the control.
The face at the moment is still a little bit flippy, right? Which, you know, session and a half in, I'm not expecting miracles, but the face, if I'm honest, the face to path relationship is averaging 0.7 of a degree, right? Which is really, really good. That's why what we're seeing is pretty consistent out there. You've had 2 shots that you flipped left, but the rest of them are all pretty much down your target line. That quick release of the hands, which is, I think, something you've done historically.
That's better.
There you are. Do you know what's quite impressive as well? Taking all those things away, you don't look as aggressive at the ball. Like the tempo looks a lot better. I think
that's, well, I mean, I'm not a coach, but I genuinely feel just that posture change in here. I just feel it's so much more control, because you were right in the first one where I was like,
oh yeah.
But I was like, I felt like I genuinely feel by limiting it to here, I do feel like the tempo probably is better, but I feel it's probably because I'm just consistently at the same. Whereas
top of the bar,
I could be way here, I could be there, I could, you know.
Well, when it gets long, the arms have to get faster.
Yeah.
Because they have to fix that problem of being long. So, because your arm swing's not as long as it was, to me, your body's then controlling a lot more of your golf swing. So you're then effectively just turning on the way down. Your body's being a bit more dominant, which it should be. I've always said that the best golfers never ever look like they're swinging it fast. They are, but it doesn't look it.
Easy,
The bad golfers look like they're swinging it fast, and they're not.
I
tell you what, that was a really strong golf shot. So that's your fastest ball speed of the day with that club. Wow, really good.
Like I felt, it was like just before impact, I'm like, you know, keep over, you know. So
I mean, but even that, which has went pretty much, it's tried to move a little bit. It's went pretty strong, straight. You know, that's a 200-yard 5-iron you've just hit there.
Aye.
Which is pretty impressive. You know, that was a 122.1 ball speed, which is your highest ball speed by.
We were 118 in the last
118, 119, 150, 114, 119, 122. Face to path 1.5 degrees. So it's really it's a strong flight on it.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly, that one I didn't feel like I was going at it anymore.
Well, interestingly, your club head speed there was 85.5, which is the fastest of all the shots. So it was a little bit faster.
Yeah.
But the fact that you've just said it didn't feel
it didn't,
that goes back to the whole tempo thing.
Didn't feel as good.
Yeah, a little bit open to. The first one of the day, I think, with the face has been truly open. Yeah.
So was the swing path okay there? But
the path was 6.3 left again, which is where you are. I mean, you're averaging 6.1, so your face was just open to that path.
That's naturally going to happen if I'm trying to.
Well, it is at the moment, because you're still going through that phase of, you know, you're hitting it down the line, down the line, down the line, fade, little fade, little fade, little fade, little fade, and at some point, anyone who fades it is going to hit a little pull, and because they hit a little pull, they'll hit a little kind of cut, right? So it's instinctive. Again, I'll go back to our goal. Our goal is to make sure that rather than it happening in shot 10, it happens in shot 50, it happens in shot 100, and trying to get further and further away from you.
Alright.
Good strike again. It's going to rode the wind a little bit there as well. Your swing path is absolutely insanely consistent, right? Which is, do you know what? From a peace of mind point of view, the fact that you can stand there and go, right, my golf swing's literally doing the same. I think your last 5 swings, it's within 0.8 of a degree, 0.8 of a degree, right? And over the whole course of them, other than shot number 6, you're within 2.5 degrees. When you're face to path right now, it's 0.6 of a degree on average. And your plus and minus is 2.7, so again, it's consistent. But we can see that, the results are showing that today.
Yeah, that's great first.
I'm not sure it helps the cows going at it. But
No, I'm not putting there.
yeah. That one did look a little bit quick from the top at times. Yeah. Yeah, the club face. So it's interesting, so that's 1, 2, right, so shot 3, you flipped it. Shot 10, you flipped it. Shot 16, you flipped it. So it's like every 6 shots.
Yeah, okay.
Good man, well done. That was good. That was very good. Face to path. Oh my god. I mean, we're looking at even at things like attack angle. So your attack angle is negative 2.2, and with that club there, other than one shot, everything's been between 1.8 and 3. Negative 1.8, negative 3 attack angle, which with a 5 iron's good. You're super duper consistent with that club.
Oh, doesn't get much use.
Go and grab your driver. Let's hit a couple with the big dog.
Well, this is, so obviously I've not discussed this with you.
You've talked it up.
Well, but the thing with my driver is,
Yeah.
I know for a fact I don't do anything textbook in terms of I tee it really low. So CST, this is way too high.
Do you want one of the green tees?
Yeah, I go quite far back in my stance, but it just kind of works for me. But it's one thing that I've always quite wanted to do is actually learn a proper driver setup, because I've got a new driver, and I didn't want to. Sorry, cheers. I didn't want to use it because I hit so steep down.
Oh, you
I
didn't
want to.
So what are you driving with at the moment?
That's my
Oh, it's the old D2.
So honestly, I can't. It's got. I think the shorter shaft helps.
It does.
But I got a stealth,
Mm-hmm.
and I just didn't want to chip the top of it, so I ended up just selling it on.
You sold it because you didn't want to chip it.
Well, yeah, because I hit so steep, so
Right, okay.
you know, so I was just like, I'd rather, because I knew if I wrecked the crown, I'd just not get very much money for it. So I'll just hit this as a
You do what you do. You do what you do. Okay.
That's not my usual.
Hit one more.
No.
So what's really interesting is your club path is ridiculously consistent. It works more left with the driver than it does with irons, which is expected.
Yeah.
Club head speed on about 100 miles an hour. Launch angle is ridiculously low with driver.
Yeah.
Um,
That's why, like that one where I was saying I fired over the tree.
yeah.
I couldn't believe I managed to get it over the tree because
Yeah.
it genuinely hit really quite low. But I just sort of I've never played with anything to do with position, tee height or whatnot, because I've just been like, it just seems to be okay.
Right. So I'm not going to.
I would love it to be how it's meant to be, if that makes sense.
Well,
I'd love to set up the proper way, hit up on it like you're meant to, you know what I mean?
you've still got to. Like I talk about this with short game, right? Everybody wants to pitch it with a lob wedge and get a bit of spin, right? But there's a time where you have to just grab a 7-iron and bunt on it. Right? That is. And with drivers, there's a time and a place to try and do what you're talking about,
Yeah.
and there's a time and a place to just hit the shot that you know and trust.
Yeah.
Okay, you sound like you've just stuck with the shot that you know and trust, and never delved into the whole how you launch it up. Now, the whole hitting up in it is absolutely factually correct. PGA Tour average though is still -1. They're still hitting down on it on tour, right? So even though you have the anomalies and the enigmas like Rory, the average guy's still hitting down at a fraction. The tee height is a bit of an issue,
Yeah.
right? So you can't hit up on it when the tee's low. Simple as that. You just can't. So in order to change that, we have to change height of tee. I actually think for changing height of tee is a good thing. Putting about with heights is a good thing. I've seen it on competition golf, but when you're practicing golf, So we're going to put you into a higher tee, right? And we're going to get you into...
I'm absolutely fine with the driver doing whatever, making any changes, because, it's the one part that I've definitely sort of just neglected. And it works, but I would love it to be better.
Well, see, you've got 100 miles an hour club head speed there, right? So, and I think you've probably got slightly more. I think you probably lose a little bit through the hitting area, right? And I think you probably lose a little bit of your drive in the air. So what you're getting is a drive that's, you're getting ground help. Ground's where you're getting your distance from.
Yeah.
So then...
That's like running out.
Yeah. So you get a winter's day or a rainy day on a big old golf course, it becomes a long, long golf course for you, right? So let's get you into your setup position, and then I'll get you into what I consider your next one, right?
So my normal.
So your normal there, right? So what we can see here is you're still a little bit more on your left side. You maybe don't feel it. I actually think that you just like to sit on your left foot. Right, I think that's just a natural move for you, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to move you way over here, right? And then just soften the right knee for me. There you are. So now you're going to feel that your head's here, yeah?
Yeah.
So the head feels miles behind it. Now I'm going to get you to take a 2-inch step to your right with both feet. There you are. Now ball position now is here, now in that heel. So you're now going to feel miles behind it, and the ball's going to feel miles in front of you. Right? All I want you to do for me right now, right, is put a golf swing on it. Try and stay behind it for as long as you can with your head, right? And I want you to feel like you're trying to hit it up. So stay behind it.
The same as with the other one, where maybe 6 inches or so behind.
Slightly, yeah, slightly. We've got you in a preset position though, right? You don't have to maybe move your head quite as much as that, right? So we're going to stay behind it with your head as much as you can, and feel like you're trying to hit it up, right? So I would expect that. I'm expecting you to hit it off the planet right, okay? But direction is not our argument today. It's not a fight right now. Okay. Okay. So you're going to go ball forward. This time you're going to try and feel like you're going to hit it up, and you're going to try and work that path left for me as we've been doing. Okay, up and left. Okay, now that's a strike. That's a game-changing strike though, right? So watch the carry distance on this. We've not set this up for driver though. Oops. Right, so we'll see it here. Right, so that's carried 244, whereas your previous driver carried 219.
Yeah.
Right.
Is that one of my all right ones?
Yeah. Your 219 one launched at 8.4. That launched at 18.1. Okay. So we're trying to find somewhere round about, for your club head speed, round about 11.5, 12 degrees. That's our kind of MO. Your spin rate's really good. It's 2226. So it's pretty much in the optimum zone there. The lower the spin rate, the higher we have to launch it. So, okay, so let's set ourselves up again. So you're feeling that ball's way forward. But this time I really want you to emphasise that exit left. Okay.
Are we talking here? So
as you approach golf ball, keep hold of the club. As you approach golf ball, you're going to feel like the path's going this way. Okay. Yeah. So you're going to try and feel like you're exiting left.
With my irons, I don't even think of.
So you're already doing that with your irons.
Yeah, I don't think of it. I think about the rest, but I don't.
As you've went to hit up on it, your path's kind of got a bit square, a bit straight.
So we need to really.
So we're just going to try and work it a little bit more of a pull feel again. There we are.
Right.
Well done.
That felt like a terrible hit though.
Did it?
It felt, to me, that felt like the club face was all over the place. That one.
So that one carried 244.6.
Right.
So the club head speed with that was 100.3 miles an hour, smash factor 1.42. So it was actually a really good shot. Right. It was it sounded a wee bit to me like it was off the kind of toy part of the club, maybe right of centre, which the spin rate would suggest at 2000 that's the case, it's reduced. So the spin rate's helped you there. So by what we've got here though is, I have no problems, like I said this to you, I have no problems with you doing what you do, right? So you're going to get conditions that you need that. But conditions where you want this is, if it's flat, calm, and firm and bouncy, hit it there.
Aye, that's kind of like I know I could go back and do what I've been doing.
Yeah,
but I would definitely rather, like that's how I feel like I should be
Yes.
in a driver.
Yes.
And I've always been conscious of the fact that I mean it's great, maybe it stems from playing in Burnt Island where it's windy, so I always try and keep it a bit further back, a bit low, because I play quite good golf in the wind.
So Burnt Island's a golf course that you never feel comfortable over a tee shot, right? It asks you to squeeze it constantly.
Yeah.
You know, any golfers I teach them there, they all say the same thing. You never feel until you get to 12 that you can stand up and just freewheel, right? So you spend all your time just kind of poking it almost, right? So that would make a bit of sense. But even on your own golf course down the road, you know, there's a couple of holes that are a bit fiddly. 4 can be a bit fiddly, you know, over the hill with driver. It kind of almost, I always think that's a bit of a fiddly hole.
See, 4, I'll sort of get to the top and then I'm relying on that running in the
Yeah.
summer. Where that should be getting...
Oh, that will be carrying to the top of the hill and some. Yeah, totally. Okay, let's repeat it. Good flight. That's maybe moving a wee bit more than we want, but... Okay, let's really feel like we're staying behind it as much as we can. Okay, that's good there. Just soften that right knee just a fraction, yeah. Okay. That's a hit.
That felt alright.
So that's more, pardon the French here, but that's a proper ball flight, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean this is like that's the kind of shape I normally hit my drives, but nowhere near as high.
Yeah.
That's how. So the 3 drives you saw me hit earlier, that's probably not a true representation of how I normally drive.
Well, I've seen you on your socials with your driver, and it's always looked like it's flat.
Yeah, never ever that kind.
Right, but that takes a bit of balls, for want of an expression, to stand up and go, I'm just going to stand up now and launch this up in the air.
Aye.
But like holes like 1 at your place where you're trying to get it up the top of that saddle, you know, great flight to have. At 3, your shot's probably a better shot to hit, you know, because you want to try and use a bit of the ground up there.
That's the other thing, there's a few, like, those trees on the side of 3.
Yeah.
At that height, I could just fade all day long over them.
Yeah.
Whereas normally I have to aim further right because I can't get the height.
Well, there's where you've now got a setup decision, right? A setup change is allowing you to then change the ball flight.
So would you say, would it be, because what I'm conscious of is I don't like to switch back doing what I've done before. So like when I was playing there those last 2 weeks, did exactly what we discussed. So with that driver, is it kind of like, you know, if you need to fire one a bit low, would it just be go back to doing what I did before?
Yes.
Or would it just become,
Yeah.
you know,
Because you've managed to perfect, if that's the word, a technique to hit this kind of low flat little cutty shot, right? And you do it ridiculously well. So that's the one that you don't have to think about. So my advice would be, when the chips are down and you've got to hit a golf shot, go back to the comfort, go back to the, but continually to work on launch, you know, launching it up in the air. I mean, you're using a club effectively that's got 15 years of a technology deficit, right? Right, and you've still hit it some pretty good distances. So, you know, you put maybe a bit more modern technology in your hands, doing the modern technique, you might find that you gain 10, 15 yards, you might gain 10%, something like that. I mean, I'm not going to throw numbers out there, but you might gain up to that. So, and that's where it's key. I've been golfing with a couple of friends recently, and I've spent a lot of time on my TrackMan, like really dialing in launch angles. And to be honest with you, I've now got rid of hitting it low. I've just stand up and I just now want to hit it there. Because I realise that in all conditions, it's the best way. But that's fine for me saying that when I can stand here and practice every day. You don't have that luxury, right? So what I'd say is, you've got to do what you do with the tools that you've got. And like that flight there is absolute money. That's where I would have you hitting it all the time.
I mean, that's the sort of thing, I can go down to the range and hit balls quite happily and practice that. Because that's the thing, is it's...
Hit another one for me.
That felt like it was right off the door.
It looked like the arm swing done a lot of the work there. The body became a bit of a passenger. Yeah, it did. Yeah, you just got off your right foot. So actually, your right foot is almost off the deck when you've hit that. Yeah. So if that's up, if that's off, the weight's obviously moving forward on the left foot. Yeah, just going to stay behind it. Just yeah. Well, I'd say right instep is probably more where you want it. Try and feel like it's in that right instep, just a bit longer on that downswing. So setup's good, posture's great.
I see, that felt better.
Well done. And you did exaggerate it there, so that's a really good way to do it. What you've just done, okay, is so you've got to the. Now you're driving at the ball. So you think about any power move or a shot putter, they're pushing as they release. They're not pushing off there then hitting it, or pushing off there and throwing it, because then there's less power there. So that was way better. I know it felt a bit restrictive from the downswing. That's good there. And you could have let yourself finish that, but you didn't.
So what would you say the focus is?
So the focus for today is, or the focus for the next couple of weeks is continually working on the path to face relationship. So really working on trying to get that ball consistently starting. Like I always think about that, if you think 12 o'clock's target, you're trying to get that golf ball would be between 12 and 11 o'clock constantly. Yeah. You know, think of that little 12th of a 12th there, trying to get it in that slot and trying to literally get the ball flight tighter, not letting it move so much, getting rid of that flippy one. So that flippy one was 1 in 6-ish, get that to 1 in 20.
So really, probably based on what I was doing with the 5 iron there, it's just that focus on holding it. Yeah,
holding it off, and maybe working a bit with some loft to hold it off, just to give you the feeling of what that's like, and then hitting some of the 5 irons and stuff. We worked on obviously a bit more of the longer clubs, which was more getting yourself into your nice setup position and just allowing yourself to kind of look into that position here, so you're almost there, as opposed to getting yourself into that position on top of it. So you're now, with the driver setup, I said to you to move onto your right hand side and soften this knee, because a lot of people do that. Right. So move onto that right side, soften that knee, and then you're in a really, really strong and powerful setup position there with the driver. You know, in a couple of those drives we're launching it, 13, 14 degrees, which is great. Staying behind it, keeping that right foot connected to the ground until you're ready to explode through the ball. I think a lot of it is just keep working on the good tempo. The tempo was fantastic today, majority of the time.
And I feel like the posture change is just like, that's just it now. So I'm not like...
No, you don't know you're thinking it too much.
Sort of just get into it. Open stance, ball position.
Yeah.
So yeah.
There was never going to be loads of new stuff on top of what we've done on day one, but there's a lot of stuff on top of day one in the sense of different clubs. Yeah. So longer irons and woods. What I would like us to do, I think, with the next session, if we can, which we'll look at the diary with this, is I'd like to get you out in the course on the grass a wee bit. Aye. And do maybe 4 or 5 holes out there where we can just see what is happening on the golf course with it, as opposed to, like, because in here you look very comfortable in here. Aye, but it's different when you're I want to take you out there and just say, right, come on in, Andy, let's do it on the course, and we'll play maybe something like wash ball. Have you played wash ball before?
Not, no. We're allowed to play one, aren't we?
So basically, wash ball is you play 2 shots and you have to play from the worst position. Right. It's a really good way of putting pressure on the game. You can do better ball as well. Best ball, worst ball, it's a good fun game. But we'll maybe do that. Maybe we'll do that next session, because I want to see it a bit more lessony rather than kind of playing a game like that. But cool. Get some practice in, buddy. That was good.
So there you have it, that's us completed lesson 2. Now for me, I've already seen big gains on the golf course in terms of my ball striking and my scoring from working on what we've covered during these lessons. I'm really excited to move on to lesson 3, where we're hopefully going to get out and do an on-course playing lesson, which is something I haven't actually been through before. So that's an experience that I'm looking forward to. But I'm also looking forward to just carrying on this journey and hopefully becoming a much better golfer. If you have any questions, comments or observations, make sure you drop them in the comments area below. I really hope you have enjoyed this video. Be sure to hit that like button if you have, and make sure to subscribe to the channel if you've not done so already, because I'll be releasing more of these videos, so you'll be notified about them when they are live. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.